Hey, deserving listeners, Ultimatum Queer Love Season 2 reunion. Let's see who stayed together and who didn't. I assume we're going to learn that.
Engagement. How does it feel to be an engaged couple?
It's been awesome. I think we grew stronger in our love, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like AJ and Brittany are still engaged. I think they would have mentioned if they had gotten married, so they're still engaged. And toward the end in the edit, the love and the connection and the dedication and the fun between them was clear.
On decision day, when Ashley and I split, I was heartbroken and I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how to feel. And then when we went back, she was still kind of just using me, and I kicked her out and I told her to go back to Indiana.
Okay, so we're hearing that Marita broke up with Ashley, and Marita's narrative is that Ashley continued to use Marita. She hasn't used that word before. She's used words like the relationship was empty, there's not enough romance, affection, I think she used. But continue to use her for what? Often I find that when people say that, this is just anecdotal, maybe I will be able to relate to what Marita's saying, but usually when people are saying someone is using me or using someone, upon further analysis or investigation or assessment, I will not be able to relate to that word. I will find other words that are, to me, more descriptive. But let's see what... So then Marita says, I kicked her out, told her to go back to Indiana. So let's rewind that.
When we went back, she was still kind of just using me.
Maybe she'll elaborate on that word, but if I was to take a guess, I think Marita would say that Ashley was not giving and was using Marita's goodwill and love and affection to gratify herself, is my guess.
And I kicked her out and I told her to go back to Indiana. And I did break up with her, and that was in May.
So I wonder go back to Indiana, why would Marita say, you need to leave the state? Or I don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
Okay, for context, we never got back together after the show. She was upset because we didn't leave engaged. And, we went to Key West after that. We had a great time.
You want to know what happened?
Okay, we're getting the topic sentence, and maybe the only thing we need to take away from this is that after not getting engaged at the show and some possible open door to dating afterwards, maybe, they went to Key West and they had a good time. And according to Ashley, they never really got back together. So Ashley's story is, sure, we went to Key West as a final thing, but then we never were together again because of Maria being disappointed that I didn't propose to her. Which, all's well that ends well, I guess.
The day after, I
can't even finish my sentences.
to get me a hotel room that night because I was heartbroken. You asked my dad for his blessing, and then the next time I saw you, you didn't propose to me. I was heartbroken, Ashley. I was in love with you.
Okay, so Ashley is, or Marita is saying, you asked for my father's blessing prior to the ultimatum potential, I don't know what to call it, but the decision day, that's what they call it, I think. And Marita feels blindsided, which, yeah, but I wouldn't say Ashley's to blame. I don't think Ashley, from the edit anyway, led Marita on in any way. It was clear that they were struggling before and after the trial marriage.
Yeah,
and then the next
same.
day
I literally
you pack
begged
my
for
car
you, the whole
and say,
past
hey,
year
we're gonna go to
be
the
with me.
Keys because none of the show mattered.
Yeah.
All of that was for show. None of that matters. I still love you. And you know what? That's called gaslighting.
Actually, no, I just didn't let myself be completely myself because there were cameras around.
Okay, interesting. So I think what we're hearing is that Ashley, after the show concluded, the filming, she told Marita that she was holding back because the cameras were around. I could imagine a scenario where Ashley was doing that to some extent, but was also trying to make an excuse to Marita of, look, because the camera's around, whatever sort of limited affection that I have was really snuffed out completely. And so now that the camera's not around, we can finally be the way we would be normally. And so let's do that. But and so we've had a year of time for Marita to kind of stew in the hurt and the anger and to develop some sort of narrative that might be true, that Ashley used Marita and that Ashley is completely fake and was making stuff up for the cameras. Is that what we're hearing?
Well,
I
you
don't
know
have
what?
this
I
personality
know
to-
the truth behind you. Let's talk about the fact that my grandfather was dying. I was home in California, and this one was cheating on me.
You guys were together?
No.
Yes, we were.
But
Maddie
she's
and
allowed
Ashley
to date.
went
If
to
you
New
guys
York
aren't
together.
together,
It sounds, at least from Ashley's perspective, that they were broken up and Ashley was potentially dating someone else. But Marita, it sounds like this occurred after breaking up and kicking her out, telling her going back to Indiana. So who knows? Given what we saw on the show, I wouldn't be surprised if, because this happens in life anyway, that there will be an explosion of conflict and a lot is said. And then there's a separation and then both interpret things a little differently. One person is like, okay, we're broken up. The other person is like, well, not really. So maybe it's something like that. Or Ashley literally cheated on Rita. You know, it's possible.
She's allowed to do whatever she wants. Are you saying you were together?
You know what? I'm just
We
going to
were
sit
not.
here until you let me talk. I don't know why you're the one that's facilitating this conversation. It has nothing to do with you.
Were you together with Ashley or no?
Yes.
Do you want to count the times you cheated on me? Because I can name 5 right now. I literally have
I
done
actually
nothing but
fucking
respect
hate
you.
you.
Wow. Wow. I mean, cheating 5 times. So there's that. I mean, it sounds like Ashley's narrative is that she didn't cheat on Marita because they were broken up, but that Marita did cheat. So that would maybe explain the wandering eyes conversation they had in the first episode. And Marita's saying, you know why I have wandering eyes? So maybe they're referring to that. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it from the looks of it, sounds like they made up enough and that Marita had apologized or something. Or Ashley's just lying. And maybe it's not like cheating. Or anyway. But then Marita says, I actually fucking hate you. And yeah, breakups. It's all of us are, it's rough. It cuts to the core. This might be the first time they've talked since a massive number of explosions. It kind of looks that way, right?
I hope you know
That's
that.
a lot.
Wow. I literally can't.
Come out.
Yeah, just so you know, my grandma's dying right now.
Yeah, I don't care. Guess what? You didn't care either. You cheated on me.
Yeesh. It's so interesting how cast members at the reunion will go from, I imagine, liked, maybe even loved by the audience to, oh my goodness, Villainsville. Rated in Marita. I get it. You're hurt. Do I believe that Marita doesn't care about Ashley's dying grandparent? No. I'm quite sure that Marita cares. But she's angry and she's young. No offense. But she's hurt and she's on camera and maybe she's hangry. I don't know. But yeah. So I'm guessing it's something along those lines. But yeesh.
Okay.
Just breathe.
All right, let's settle down, everyone.
Yeah, get out.
Marita.
It paints a picture, does it not? Clearly, they weren't presenting the whole story, right? which is natural. But it sounds like their relationship was much more volatile, and that both of them were presenting a side of themselves, which I have on the record said that you would be stupid not to do that. Of course, you don't want to be hated by the entire internet or the entire world. So, of course, you're going to present a certain side of yourself. So, anyway, but this is unexpected. This is a surprise. I would not have thought that Marita had it in her to say things like that. That's horrible. Horrible.
Let's go.
Bro, I can't. Like, she's literally, I won't even get to say bye to her.
Listen,
Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
I love.
Thank you.
I love you so much. I love you.
Ugh. Was Marita planning on doing? Was this? She's. I hope she recovers and says, and at least says on camera, I probably went too far earlier. Hopefully, something like that. My goodness.
It's a pressure cooker. You guys are very raw. I know that things are heated and everybody has their perspectives, even if you don't agree. I really would like to give you an opportunity to speak your truth.
and
And I would
Juliana,
love to offer Ashley the same thing when she comes back and when she feels ready.
You knew she was going to.
I love her so much.
You know. I know you're going through so much right now, bro.
It's interesting to see the this, right? Yeah. Was it last season, right, of Love is Blind that the reunion suddenly are like, whoa, where was all this during the season?
There's so much.
I'm very sorry about your grandpa,
both. Thanks.
but I'm also sorry about her parents too. And that wasn't nice.
Sorry I didn't cheat on someone while her grandfather was
I'm
killed.
sorry I didn't cheat on someone either, babe.
Maybe a little bit more time and Marita will recover. She's still in that mode.
I see you. I'm right here. Let's simmer.
And this might explain why Ashley's friends were so hell-bent on them breaking up. It would explain that whole thing. I will still say that my general advice as friends is to not come out strongly recommending those kinds of moves. Like, you need to break up. But if this is indicative, which would make sense of at least some of the dynamic that was happening. I mean, well, who knows? But I could imagine the friends being nice as they're saying what they were saying on camera. Off camera, they might say, like, Ashley, you're being... So then we ask ourselves, because Ashley was talking about how she was previously abused, if that is a pattern of her picker, so to speak. I don't know. I mean, because this is... it's hard to say, but it has a dynamic in this little moment anyway of abusive behavior-ish. It's hard to see, it's breakup, it's hard, it hurts, but the callousness involved and the rigidity and the certainty of the statements and the, it's telling, I think.
Okay.
You didn't deserve it.
Bro,
You didn't
like,
deserve it.
she literally was so...
And if I were Ashley's friend, I would say, like, don't go back on stage. That you don't deserve to even see her, especially under these circumstances of the bright lights and everything. Like, go back to the green room and say, I'll come back out when Marita is no longer there. Marita can say what she wants. I just can't right now. She's understandably shaken. And I don't use that word like lightly. She's distressed, traumatized, which I would feel the same. I mean, just, oh, wow.
I know.
I knew
I
she was
never
gonna do this and I didn't do that.
This is
I was wondering about that. She says, I knew she was going to do that. Because I was wondering, is this a brand new Marita that Ashley might not have ever seen before, which isn't likely, but possible given the scenario, the narrative, the breakup, the bright lights. Maybe even Marita feeling like she has to come out strong. Sometimes people will do that. They'll get all amped up for the show because they think like that will win them favor from the audience or I don't know. Maybe even the producers kind of prime the pump, so to speak. I don't know. But there seem to be some cast members that come in ready to go for it and seemingly exhibit a side of themselves that maybe isn't typical. But I was wondering if this is actually typical. And I think from Ashley, she's saying that this is typical. Who knows? Maybe Ashley is like this too. Maybe Ashley's wrong about that. But it's interesting to hear that.
It was a really emotional, intense moment. And my only hope is that I can just be of service to you all here. And I do really care about what all of you feel and think.
I apologize. That was not how I expected everything to go down, and I apologize.
Okay. Good. I mean, that was what I thought. I thought Marita had that empathy in her, the ability to come back. So she's pretty quickly saying that. It doesn't erase it. You could say there's a lot more that needs to be said from Marita, and maybe she will, but that's a good sign. And on these shows, often we don't get that. Usually people dig in and never come back.
I'm glad you guys are back. Ashley, how are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, not good. It hurts to hear Marita scream that because, like, her and I talked and, like, owned up on accountability of, like, where I handled situations wrong in that time. And it's just, like, crazy to me because I could never, like, scream that I hate her.
Yeah. Hate. Yeah. And maybe Ashley deserves it. I don't know. And also, if we remember our breakups, particularly when we're younger, you know, in all likelihood, we have worse statements that we've said. And there's also something about the format of these shows that if they weren't forced, so to speak, to be on stage and questioned in this way, that Marita would have outbursts with, you know, her friends, like, oh, I just hate her. Or she would write in her journal, oh, I just hate her. She wouldn't scream at her on stage to her face in front of her. So maybe it's some function of that.
Giving the ultimatum, like, what did that make you feel?
I didn't know that Bridget, Ashley, and Kyle had that conversation. It did hurt. I didn't know that you were convincing Ashley to reverse the ultimatum on me. And I didn't.
And Marita's not doing herself any favors by coming after Bridget now. And that's another consideration that I have to remind myself that I believe the way things occur is that they film the reunion before the show has been aired, which makes sense because they actually published all 10 episodes in the same week, 8 days. So on Wednesday, 1 through 7 were published, and then the next Wednesday, 8 through 10, which I don't know if that's what they did in the past, but that's not typical for the Netflix, because Love is Blind, there's like, I think 5 publishings or something. And so the reunion happens, I think, somewhere in the middle there, but I'm guessing that the reunion had to be filmed before the show even aired. But at any rate, they, well, and maybe that's a great thing because they haven't been exposed to all the hatred from the internet yet, which can cause people to come out swinging at the reunion. And maybe this was filmed in between, who knows. But I don't think Marita would have been faced with a lot of online hate, but who knows, actually. Anyway, at the very least, we know that they just watched, maybe earlier that day or the day before, all episodes or a rough cut or something of every episode up until the reunion, obviously. And so to be Marita and to be sad and grieving and to just watch all those things happen and to learn all of a sudden, oh my God, there were people that were, at least through my lens, encouraging Ashley to maybe not be with me or to assert herself against me or something. And so she's still reactive from that place. You know, it's easy to be in a happy, engaged relationship, watch that. I mean, well, maybe it's not so easy. Like, I'm really curious what Dana will say after watching the scene with Haley and with Megan saying how much they loved each other. Anyway, but, and Marie with Mel, but they're engaged, so there's more security. So it's easier for them, perhaps, to watch the show and sit down on the couch because they're like, well, we're good, you know, at least I imagine. Anyway, but Marita is having all this unearthed, and so there's a lot of emotionality. I don't know. I think there's some reasonability to Marita's reactivity and some unfairness about it.
I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, throughout the episodes, it just kind of seems like you didn't really put in much effort. And you even said that.
I mean, that's the first thing that Marita has said that I would say, yeah, from a certain perspective, that's the truth. Looked at in a certain way. I think Ashley could say, well, yeah, I was trying, but I also recognize that I have a hard time expressing myself. So I think this is the first time Marita is actually saying something that I could maybe get behind. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Continue watching me in the future as I continue watching this reunion. I'm sure there's more to come. And please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.